East Newark has a lot of hey, thanks for coming back again. It's good to see you. This is probably going to be a short one. We're in East Newark, and this is East Newark, and we're going to check out real quick this place called the Clark Thread Factory. We're not going in, but this is a happy accident. I was just kind of walking around ready to do something else, and I stumbled upon this place that I've probably, again, seen like hundreds of times. But let's take a look around, because this is really fascinating. And they're going to repurpose this place into apartments or luxury townhouse or something like that. But let's take a look around. You can see already, this is wild. Starting right here, now look at the size of this doorway. The original doorway, look at the size of that. And it was filled in with cinder and then put this like tiny door for us mere mortals. And then look at, this is just fascinating how, like right here, look at the size of that. And there definitely was some kind of connection from this all the way over to here, which was filled in. And again, you see the trend of all the windows are filled with cinder. Again, you might know better than me why that would be. The only thing I could think of would be that it's more, you can keep more heat and cooling in if you do it that way. But think about what it must have looked like if we could find some old pictures, because it must have been, imagine if that was glass, the amount of light that you would get in here would be out of this world. And if you follow some of what we've talked about in the past, is the more light, let's just say if we can gather energy naturally and store it. If you look into a lot of this, if you're into antiquitech, you can see that a lot of red brick was used almost as batteries. Again, I'm not smart enough to know any of this, how it works, but I'm fascinated by it, and maybe you do. And I always love that this is what we would call, believe it or not, like a retrofit of telephony that was added on here at some point for phones. But yeah, come walk with me, you're gonna see as you come down here, I'm gonna point out, you walk down here and then look, if you could see in the distance, that is the cathedral that we visited. You can see it, and now you come back here, and they've repurposed this right now for actually some parking, because there's actually a really awesome diner next, Top's Diner, very close to here. But look at this, you're inside of like it's almost like a coliseum. Now, and again, look at that huge arch right there. What was that? Was this simply just a thread factory? And it is massive. And you have that. Do you know what this stack here, if you look, there's like a green line going up. I don't know what it is, but at the very top, it looks like it's connected to some type of antenna. And anytime I see green like that, I'm wondering if that is just like a copper, weathered copper. I'd have to look into it, I don't know. It's very curious, but just look to the left there, the other part of this complex, and yet you do see a bridge between these two buildings. And look at there's some ornamentation at the top of that tower. I'm gonna try to get a little closer to that. Oh, some blowing debris. But here you can see in the newer version of this, they actually are taking advantage of the full arch of the window. They're putting windows pretty much almost the same size, which is impressive. So maybe, I don't know why they filled them in with cinder. It's probably cheaper, definitely. Well, yeah, let's keep walking. again, East Newark, but this whole area is fascinating. Now, take a look at how the bottom floor, essentially, look at one of the normal windows, which are about 10 feet. I don't know, it could be maybe 8 or 9 feet, looks like. And then there's another one right on the ground level, that is the same height, but why would that be underground? Like, why? That doesn't, maybe you could explain that to me. Also, look at that fire escape that they put in. That's a wild fire escape. This is a great time to just catch up a little bit. The world is in need of love today more than ever. I can't even, like Mark Twain said, you watch the news, you're misinformed. You don't watch the news, you're uninformed. But it's at the level now where there's just so much negative and so much fear-mongering that it's raising everybody's low vibration. We got to get together. As you're watching this, I want you to think positive, and I want you to say, I don't want any harm to come at anybody. Do the best you can. Start with the person next to you. But I hope this brings you some kind of joy, some kind of peace. Because I gotta say, when you write a comment or give your thoughts, it really makes me happy. And the idea is to just spread that to everybody. But let's see what else we can see here. So you can see they've refurbished a lot of this already here. And then you can see they have another bridge. I wonder what they'll do in the newer development with that, if they're gonna reuse it. That would be, if I lived here, I would think it would be pretty cool to be able to pass through there. But bring us back down to street level, get some fantastic views down here. This is the iconic coming up to the Tops Diner in East Newark. You can see what's really I like about being over here is if you look around, you're gonna get to see so many landmarks in the distance. You can see the bridges, and then you get this juxtaposition of this old world in the middle, in a transition of becoming something new. Thanks, man. Thank you. Oh man, the world has changed. Excuse me, sorry. A cup of coffee, excuse me. And check this place out. This used to be a place where you could come. Oh wow, this is look how big it is. That is nuts. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you again. Thanks. Yeah. So this is crazy. I used to come here, I don't know, 2005s and through the years. This is like a club now. This used to be a really good diner, but now it's a club. There's like a blue room you can do takeout, but I don't know. The world has changed. But it is a pretty suave place if you're into, it's like check it out for yourself. But we always talk about happy accidents, right? Serendipity, somebody taught me. But this is serendipity. I was here for a different reason. We had bigger, grandiose plans for today, and they didn't happen. It's probably good because I'm a little bit tired. But here we are in East Newark Riverfront Park, which is new. I'm talking about it, but it is, I got to give credit where credit's due. This is I'm digging this. You know, I might have mentioned with the Clark, the Red Factory becoming these new apartments or townhouses, whatever they're doing, not tearing it down. This could be a fascinating place to be. We talk about art, we talk about expressing ourselves, and now whatever they built here, if you think about it, you could come here, I'm sure you could come here and perform, play music, do anything. This is a fantastic meeting point, and there's a lot of energy here, even in the winter. I know you might be watching saying, hey, you know, I'll meet you over there, let me know how it goes, but it's a really good vibe here. It's super cool. You could come out, play music, you know, just be present. But this is something else. And I would say, I have to think, go way back. I mean, way back. I'm not talking about the late 1800s or the turn of the century back then. I'm talking about, think about how this stuff came to be, why it came to be. It's on a river, right? That makes sense. You want to transport goods. But when I looked at the Clark Thread Factory, it almost makes you feel like they knew how to use energy differently than we did. Somehow harnessing naturally, bringing it to the building, creating, using the water here. And then somehow it became the Industrial Revolution, and we've just said, you know, fossil fuels is what they call them, or we got to burn and destroy to create energy. And I'm going to leave you with this. No matter what you believe, if we could dream for a moment, what if we could dream that you and I could have free energy? Just like pulling in right from the ether, so to speak. What if we didn't have to burn things? This might make someone angry, but there's nothing wrong with dreaming and believing. And if we could get that energy, what things could that solve right now to bring peace, to bring love, prosperity to folks? Love is the answer. Wow, I love it. Look at this. I'm here to just let you know it's okay to be happy. It's okay to feel like a kid over things that other people may not even be aware of, but they make you happy. You don't have to apologize for that. You can be everything. You can be, we wear many masks. We're family members, you know, we're parents, we're spouses, we're partners, and we wear those masks and we care. But you're allowed to have fun and wanderlust and be silly and just not be apologetic about it. And more than anything I want to tell you, or I want to just share with you, is be not afraid. And I'm telling myself that too. Be not afraid. Look at these two. That's a synchronicity. Be not afraid is probably one of the most repeated verses. You don't have to be religious, but the message needs to be heard. Be not afraid. So if you're wondering, they have a police box here, and I wouldn't be rude, but there is no one in there right now, just if you're wondering. And of course, we're gonna play a game here. We are in New Jersey, and we're gonna go see if a public bathroom in a park is gonna be actually open. I can't believe I'm seeing this, but I see that says vacant. Now, is it locked? Survey says, nope, nope, and no. That's okay. I kind of understand why, but I would love to use a facility once in a while. Oh, look at these little buds here. It's getting to be that time. Another thing I was going to mention to you is, we wear cell phones and we're tracked just the way it is, unless you don't have any of that tech, but you're probably tracked. But I was going to say, if you've ever seen these police stations and you've seen they have a tower, this one doesn't particularly, but you'll see them. Oh, I actually see there's one over there. It's basically a dome. It's like a 360 dome. Not only are they watching you, they have tech now that if someone's here having a conversation, like if I'm having a conversation and I say something, I'm gonna do the opposite. You know what, Johnny? Let's go and give that person a bunch of money and hug them and do everything nice. We wouldn't say, hey, Johnny, I'm gonna go across the street and somebody's gonna give me a bunch of stuff, if you know what I mean. The reason I say that is because they have the technology to hear you from even a block away. So they see you and they hear you. Isn't that fun? So, I don't know. Why would we think they couldn't do that? Because the technology, I mean, this video might be going in a different place. I'm not trying to get into that, but it makes you think. And if you don't believe me, you can look into it. That technology absolutely exists. Look up there. You can see how they retrofitted all that cabling into that top part. I'm gonna turn this off because I don't know how this car is in deaf from the volume of music. This place is massive, massive. I have something I want you to look into if you choose to. So you can see, without doing the research right on the spot, this whole area was supposed to be established, or this whole complex, around 1845. So what I'm always curious about is if you're in your own town, look at bridges, look at structures, and you're gonna see these huge cornerstones and foundation. So what I'm asking this earnestly and sincerely, in 1845, how did they get this here? Now, look at the size of this. Keep in mind, I understand that we're across the street from the Passaic River, and there's bridges, and it's navigable, of course. So did they bring this stone from a quarry to a port? And then in 1845, how did they get it from there? Did they put it in a horse carriage and bring it over and build it? And then how about all these bricks? Did they do the same thing? I'm just in sheer, I'm enthralled. I'm at lack of words. I'm just enthralled by this. And look, 1845, that's what the history is saying. That's a long time. And it's still standing, and it's still worthy enough to create even more housing in here. So that says volumes. Oh, there goes my friend again, the 360. I wonder what this was here. It was probably, I'll look into it for the video. So this, where the NX bridge, the Annie Bridge, and I showed you that foundation. I didn't even realize that was the overpass of the train for the old, the Newark branch of the Erie Railroad right here. So if you come across, that's what I was showing that foundation from. I didn't even realize where I was at the time. But if you come here, you can see a little more. Oh, check out that, some mushroom action there. Now there are a lot of activity up here. It's cold. Wow, you can see how steep this is. But yeah, but this would be where the tracks were. Now we're another view. NX Bridge across the way, Passaic River. And you got all this. Just dream with me for a moment. The Clark Thread Factory complex, established around 1845. Look at this, look at a bird's eye view of this. You have all these buildings, and in the center you have this stack. To think that this was a factory, what if this was another world where it was just a community, or we're just dreaming right now? That is so awesome, like that crossing there. And look at all the details taken for this place. For example, this metal work, they always have this like cone. It's like I always learned that might be a reference to the pineal gland. And it's survived, painted, it's green now, but look at that. That's been here at least since 1845. So let's do the math. 1945, 100 years, and 2045, it'll be here almost 200 years. And I'm sure it will be here because these folks are not tearing us down, I hope. Well, I might have second thoughts about wanting to live here, but just some type of environmental investigation, cleanup, progress at this site. Well, who knows what that means. It was a thread factory, so whoever knows what they've done since then. This is always interesting. So this is Sherman and Grant, and you could see, you know, you could be driving down here, it comes to a T. What you could see, some of the foundation is missing, and down here. So I'm guessing that somebody probably didn't stop and smashed into this more than once. The more I think about it, this railing is probably not as old as the structure itself, of course. The reason is also this sunken, we looked at this before, with that level being below ground. There's something similar if you're in Paterson. If you look on, I think it's Mill Street, a lot of those similar, very similar feeling. And that was Silk City over there. But they had water coming from the mills, or they had water power coming through tracks or race tracks around those structures. So that made sense. Maybe they did the same thing here from the Passaic. I don't know. It's fascinating. Old world telephone. Think I got dial tone? No, it does not. Probably shouldn't have touched that thing. So I normally don't point these things out because I'm not a big litigator, but this is right here. That's money in the bank. That's a torn down sign of some sort. And then across the street, I want you to see these buildings. The building over there is called the Grant. I'm gonna get a little closer, but it has that thing we were talking about, windows that are, it has windows that are actually below surface. So if you're a builder, let me know. I'm just curious when, you know, I'm sure there's reasons for it, but they just escape me. This one's not as obvious because it looks like, this actually just looks like a smaller windows. But yeah, that's pretty cool looking. You got that glass. Let's go into the local place and have a little cappuccino. Oh no, it's closed. But I love these little places like this. I'm sure if you're watching, this is 42 on the street I'm on, which is, I'll tell you in a second. But you probably know what this place is. I don't, but you can tell there's probably a lot of memories here. And it's interesting because it's like a brick front, and then there's like looks like a house in the back of it, or I don't know if anything's going on in here anymore. Actually, it looks like it's being used for storage. This is fascinating. I missed it, but there was a fat, woodchuck hanging out here. Bell Atlantic warning. Underground telephone cables. It's so peaceful over here. But if you remember, the last time I was here in a kayak. And we hung out, we actually stretched our legs here. And let's see what it's like these days. Ooh. One of the tricks is anything that's wood, it's probably has a lot of, I don't know. Enough of that. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that duck. I'm gonna have to look it up. That is, I'm not gonna say the name. I've seen him before. Oh, that is a great sign. Unless no, I don't think that's just a mallard. No, that's different. You can see here, I guess the tide, I didn't even check, but it must be low tide because this looks like it's where the tide comes up. Look at all this deterioration and all the cement. So this would have been the Newark branch of the Erie Railroad that's now, of course, out of business. You saw earlier in the video, I showed a foundation, like that actually was the overpass for this. I just didn't realize it. I didn't see this side though, which I gotta see some old pictures. But yeah, check this out. Don't want to slip on anything. But again, look at this. Look at the magnificence of this foundation. And you can't see now, but the Mr. Keegan's flag is up there, of course. Rest in peace. Oh, a lot of O's here. But yeah, it looks like the tide is coming in. And it's moving pretty good, unless it's just wind. I'll take a walk up here. But yeah, do you see what I see? A tree went ahead and grew right through this tire. That's really cool. Wow, this is, oh man, it's just neat. I hear stuff. Look at that tree growing out of the crevice there. And look at that stonework. You got these barriers here. But last time, well, the last time I was here, you might remember, I'll put the video, but I came and I took a break right here. I think I came up a little bit. And there's another walk here. Pretty impressive what they've been doing around here. Do you remember the game called Dragon's Den? It came out in the 80s. It was actually one of the first video games that used a laser disc inside the machine, and it had all these, you hit the joystick and you held Dirk get to the princess. But this reminds me of it, because if you're not careful, there are so many places that you could, you know, end up like Dirk. If you remember, he met his demise in a lot of very painful ways. But yeah, you got to be very careful here. I'm not recommending anybody do this. I know people have. And of course, in Annie, they climbed this. But there's a bascule, the NX bridge. It's quite fascinating. But I'm gonna be in awe of it and then head out of here. And this is the rest of of course, the Newark branch abandoned line. Some rails here still. Super fascinating. I'm always reluctant to say this is the end of the video because I don't want you to leave, but this is going to be the end of the video. This area here in East Newark and other places like Belleville, Kearney, Harrison, they got a lot of really incredibly interesting old world transportation, and it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on over here. So we're going to be back. We're going to be back. So I would love if you gave me your ideas of where, maybe there's a place that you know that nobody else knows how exciting and intriguing it is. Let me know. I read all the comments, I try to reply to all of them. It means a lot. So, and remember, be not afraid. I want to figure out, I guess I'll find the old pictures, but this would have been the old Newark branch, and then we could have had, it would have had bridge, and you could see the foundation there. I was showing that earlier. That must have been quite the feat, but if you have all that foundation and work over here, why don't we have the same here? Or did they take it out, which wouldn't make any sense? That'd be a lot of work, unless they repurposed the stone. Let me know. Hey lovers. How's it doing? Yeah, we can't get enough of this NX bridge, Annie Bridge. And now we have this walkway here. Who do we owe this kind deed from? This is And friend, another thing I'd like to just mention to you is when I do these videos and we watch them, I do what I feel comfortable with, but there's a lot of factors that do come in. And I'm trying to have fun, but part of my fun is not getting hurt. Part of my fun is not getting, you know, apprehended, so to speak. So you do what you feel comfortable, but I would say this, caution, if you're like everything is illegal, everything is, I can't do that, you can't do this, you're just gonna find yourself not doing it. So take baby steps. Just come and look at some of these places, get close. You don't have to climb these structures. I'm not suggesting people do that. I mean, you have free will, but yeah, be safe, have fun, explore, and yeah, and check out things like the Annie Bridge. And again, many people have done this. It's not new. These places have been here forever. Explorers have checked them out, but I want to show them to you. Tell me if you know any other places like this. I'd love to see them. And no matter where you are here, you can still always get a bit of a glimpse. You can see in the distance, this camera's not going to be able to show it so great, but the cathedral's there looking at us. Yeah, one thing I realized is we're not trying to pollute generally, I mean, but these plastics, they get into the waterways, and ultimately the ones that aren't trapped here or caught are going to go down ultimately into the ocean. But it just makes me think, it's like, what can I do? If I don't use as much plastic, then there wouldn't be as much plastic. And it's a crazy cycle, right? When you create plastic, you use energy, you're burning energy, you're expending energy to make these things, and evidently these things don't go away. So, I don't know. It's, just thoughts. Because I don't think anybody maliciously wants to do this, but you could see it just adds up. If you have any experience with building, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. It looks like they're pulling soil. I don't know if it was soil that was here as part of that Erie or the Newark branch area, and then they're taking it and they got this going on. I'm guessing this is going to be more apartments. I'm thinking. I don't know. Let me know. So I was just driving by here, and I'm on West Bigelow and Jelliff Street. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I'm just going to give you an idea. I just had to stop because I want to show you this. So this is definitely an old building. I'm going to look this one up. You can see there's some ornamentation up there. It looks like it can get closer. I probably can't get too much closer than that, but so you have this enormous building. You have all the usual stuff. It's all filled in with, you know, cement in the windows. But check this out. This is what this one's very, extremely weird and obvious. But look at this. How do you explain this? Why would you have the same windows here in the ground. So, you know, if I didn't know anything, I would say just what happened was they just dug out the, somehow this thing got flooded or had mud, and they dug it out. They left the bottom floor alone, and they just used the rest of it. Help me understand this. In Newark, Jelliff and West Bigelow. Here's a closer shot. I'll try to zoom in, but look what they've done with the rest of the building. And you can see, I've seen in basements those little square cube lights to let the light in, or they're glass. Sorry. But yeah, this is a super interesting, crazy. Oh, and I just stumbled on this. This is amazing. I'm just driving through, passing through. This is Clinton Ave in Newark, and look at all this architecture right here, and art. I'm gonna get a little closer, but this is unbelievable. Wow, look at this. This is, I'm trying to get a still. I'm just, I don't even have words to this. And I'm too close to it, but there's a dome on top of this. This whole street, Clinton Ave, has so many amazing architectural, old world specimens. It's just, this was a special place. Not saying it isn't anymore, but this meant something going on here, high vibration. I want to get a shot of the Deliverance temple here. So yeah, Deliverance temple. Good shot of it. Look at the dome. Look at the area. Quite a juxtaposition, as probably that word could be used right now. That's wild. If you haven't figured this out, a lot of people around here, they're not fans of seeing this camera, and they don't believe me, I don't think, when I tell them, like, I'm just trying to take a video of this building, but they find it curious. It is curious, but not the way they think.